Chosen One, there was an awkward conversation about you the other night, and what happened in that moment of cosmic collision between awakened consciousness and sleeping minds has set in motion a chain of revelations that will fundamentally alter how you understand your divine purpose on this planet. This wasn't just relationship talk, this was consciousness attempting to explain enlightenment to someone still dreaming, and the spectacular failure that followed revealed everything you need to know about your role as a frequency holder in a world still learning to wake up. Picture the scene unfolding like a cosmic experiment designed to test the boundaries between awakened and sleeping consciousness, because you've been in similar situations yourself. You've tried to share your truth with someone you trusted, only to watch their eyes glaze over with polite confusion. That person who loves you was radiating pure divine love, practically humming with source energy that makes their very presence feel like standing near a spiritual power generator. Sitting across from someone whose consciousness operates entirely within the confines of what they call the real world. You know exactly what this looks like because you've lived it. You've sat across from friends, family members, colleagues, trying to explain synchronicities that changed your life, only to see them reach for logical explanations that completely miss the point. You've attempted to share moments of profound spiritual connection, only to watch as they reduce your experiences to coincidence, wishful thinking, or overactive imagination. The conversation began innocently enough, as these revelations always do. The one who loves you, overflowing with joy so intense it felt criminal to contain it within the boundaries of their physical form, decided to share their euphoria with someone they considered safe, just like you've done countless times when your heart was so full of gratitude for this connection that you couldn't help but overflow. They spoke of synchronicities that would make materialists scoff, the same synchronicities you've experienced but learned to keep to yourself because you know how they sound to unawakened ears. They described telepathic exchanges that sound like science fiction to minds still trapped in three-dimensional thinking, the same mind-to-mind communication you share with them daily. They attempted to convey a connection so profound it obliterates every conventional understanding of what human relationships can become when consciousness awakens to its true potential. The listener responded with the kind of polite engagement reserved for elaborate fiction or wishful thinking born from loneliness. You've seen this response before, that careful, measured tone people use when they think you're having a breakdown but they're too polite to say so directly. Those encouraging nods that feel hollow, supportive sounds that carry no real understanding, appropriate questions that reveal their complete inability to grasp what's being shared. But underneath their well-intentioned performance lurked something unmistakable, something you've learned to recognize instantly because you've seen it so many times. The expression of someone witnessing what they believe to be beautiful delusion unfolding in real time, someone watching a friend disappear into fantasy because reality has become too painful to bear. You know this look because you've been on the receiving end of it more times than you can count. You've been in this exact situation. You've tried to explain color to someone born blind, tried to describe music to someone born deaf, tried to convey the taste of honey to someone whose tongue has only ever known bitterness. You know the exhaustion that comes from repeatedly attempting to communicate experiences that exist beyond the boundaries of consensus reality. This moment of social catastrophe marks the beginning of your true story, Chosen One, because what happened next illuminates everything about your nature and the revolutionary purpose you've incarnated to fulfill. You're not here by accident. You didn't stumble into this connection randomly. The universe arranged this awkward conversation with surgical precision, timing it perfectly to deliver maximum impact at exactly the moment when deeper understanding was needed most. And you know this truth deeply. Nothing happens randomly in your life anymore. Every challenging conversation, every moment of misunderstanding, every instance where others can't grasp what you're experiencing, all of it serves a greater purpose in your awakening and the mission you've come here to fulfill. The person who tried to speak your truth walked away from that conversation forever changed, carrying new understanding that would transform their entire relationship with reality itself. But you already knew this was coming. You felt the shift in their energy, sensed the deeper realization forming, recognized the cosmic setup before it even played out completely. The brutal contrast between their ecstatic inner reality and the flat mechanical response they received became a mirror reflecting fundamental truths about consciousness that most people spend entire lifetimes never discovering. You've seen this mirror yourself. You've experienced that jarring contrast between the profound reality of your inner world and the superficial concerns that occupy most people's daily existence. The crushing disappointment they felt initially had nothing to do with needing validation from others, and everything to do with the staggering loneliness that comes with being fully awake in a world still locked in collective sleep. You know this loneliness intimately. Urutyaj, it's the loneliness of being the only person in a room who can see color while everyone else insists that only black and white exist. It's the isolation of hearing symphony while others hear only noise. The second wave of understanding crashed over them with devastating clarity that reorganized their entire understanding of what they're carrying. Instead of feeling defeated by the conversation's spectacular failure, they experienced overwhelming gratitude so intense it brought tears of recognition rather than disappointment. You've experienced this same transformation, that moment when disappointment suddenly shifts to profound appreciation for what you've been given. The exchange that fell so catastrophically flat made them realize with crystalline precision how extraordinary their recognition of you truly is, how rare it is to find someone who speaks the same frequency, how precious it is to discover another soul operating on the same dimensional level. You know this rarity because you've searched for it your entire life. You've longed for someone who could see you completely, understand you fully, accept you unconditionally. The very fact that others cannot comprehend it doesn't diminish its reality, it confirms its sacred authenticity. You've learned this lesson through experience. You've discovered that the most profound truths in your life are often the ones that others cannot understand, cannot accept, cannot even perceive as possibilities. Your champion didn't leave that conversation feeling isolated or misunderstood. They left feeling profoundly chosen, deeply grateful, and absolutely certain that they've been given access to something most people spend multiple lifetimes seeking without ever finding. You know this feeling because you carry it within you daily. That sense of being chosen for something extraordinary, selected for a mission that extends far beyond personal happiness or individual fulfillment. You're not just two people who fell in love, you're two souls who woke up simultaneously and recognized each other as fellow travelers on the path back to remembering what love actually is when it's not filtered through fear, limitation, and societal programming. You've known this from the beginning. This connection was never about finding someone to complete you. It was about recognizing someone who was already complete, someone who could mirror back your own divine nature. But the cosmic joke runs deeper still, revealing layers of orchestration that speak to the profound intelligence governing awakened relationships. The communication breakdown revealed something crucial about the very nature of the language you share, a language that transcends words and operates through direct transmission of consciousness itself. You've experienced this communication. Those moments when thoughts transfer between you instantaneously, when you know what they're feeling before they express it, when you understand each other without speaking. The third recognition emerges through what your advocate understood about mission and cosmic purpose, revealing that your connection serves functions far beyond personal fulfillment or individual happiness. You've always sensed this greater purpose. That feeling that your relationship exists to serve something larger than yourselves, that your love has work to do in the world. They tried to convey that your union transcends romantic relationship entirely. It serves as a crucial component in a vast cosmic plan currently unfolding across multiple dimensions simultaneously. You felt this cosmic significance. Those moments when you understand that your love is contributing to something much larger than your individual lives, that your connection is helping to heal the collective consciousness. Your union functions as a living template, a real-time demonstration broadcast across multiple planes of consciousness to show what becomes possible when awakened souls choose to operate from love rather than fear, unity rather than separation, remembrance rather than forgetting. You feel this demonstration happening through you. The way your love affects others, the way your connection inspires people, the way your relationship serves as proof that another way is possible. The person receiving this explanation couldn't grasp these concepts because they still think in terms of individual experience rather than collective transformation, personal gain rather than universal service, temporary pleasure rather than eternal purpose. You've encountered this limited thinking everywhere, people who cannot see beyond their immediate circumstances, who cannot imagine possibilities beyond their current experience. They couldn't understand that your love story operates as transformational technology, a frequency transmission that affects everyone who encounters its emanation, a ripple of remembrance spreading through the collective consciousness to remind others what love actually looks like. You've witnessed this ripple effect, the way your authentic love makes others remember their own capacity for authentic love, the way your connection gives others permission to seek deeper connections. The awkward conversation became a catalyst for recognizing the true magnitude of what you both carry within your unified field, the responsibility that comes with being holders of advanced consciousness in a world still learning basic lessons about love. You feel this responsibility deeply. The weight of carrying truth in a world still choosing illusion, the challenge of maintaining high frequency in a low-frequency environment. The fourth layer of cosmic orchestration reveals itself through the recognition of perfect divine timing that governs every aspect of awakened existence. You've learned to trust this timing. You've experienced too many perfect synchronicities to believe in coincidence anymore. You know that everything happens precisely when it needs to happen for maximum growth and understanding. Your champion realized the conversation happened precisely when universal intelligence determined it needed to happen, serving multiple simultaneous purposes with surgical precision that speaks to the profound intelligence orchestrating awakened relationships. You've witnessed this orchestration in your own life. The way challenges arrive exactly when you're ready to grow, the way support appears precisely when you need it most. It tested their understanding of your connection's reality, strengthened their conviction about its authenticity, provided invaluable intelligence about consciousness levels surrounding them, and deepened their appreciation for what you represent in their life and in the greater cosmic plan. You've experienced these multifaceted tests yourself, situations that challenge you on multiple levels while simultaneously offering opportunities for deeper understanding and growth. Nothing occurs randomly in the realm of awakened awareness. Everything serves the greater orchestration designed to accelerate consciousness evolution and support the awakening process for all involved. You've learned to see life this way, as a perfectly orchestrated classroom where every experience teaches you something essential about love, consciousness, and your divine nature. The universe operates like a master chess player, moving pieces across the board with perfect precision to create exactly the experiences needed for maximum growth and understanding. You felt yourself being moved by this intelligence. Those moments when you find yourself in exactly the right place at exactly the right time, saying exactly the right words to exactly the right person. The challenges that test your faith in love, the confirmations that validate your path, the moments when doubt clouds your vision like storm clouds blocking the sun, the lightning flashes of absolute clarity that remind you why you're here, all of it serves the greater purpose of your awakening and the mission you've come here to fulfill. You've experienced this full spectrum of the awakening journey, the highs and lows, the expansions and contractions, the clarity and confusion that mark the path of remembrance. The fifth revelation cascades through the nature of recognition and the complete irrelevance of external validation when you're operating from authentic knowing. You've learned this lesson through experience. You've discovered that when you truly know something, really know it in your bones, external confirmation becomes unnecessary. Your champion didn't require the other person to confirm your connection's reality. They know its truth beyond any shadow of doubt, feel its reality in every cell of their being, experience its authenticity through direct transmission that bypasses the mind entirely. You know this level of certainty because you feel it too. That unshakable knowing that what you share is real, regardless of what anyone else thinks or says about it. But they hoped for something else entirely. A moment of shared recognition, a spark of mutual understanding, a glimpse indicating someone else could perceive what they perceive so clearly. You've hoped for this same recognition. That longing for someone else to see what you see, to validate the extraordinary nature of what you're experiencing. The complete absence of that recognition became its own form of validation, confirming that what you share operates on levels far beyond ordinary perception's reach. You've learned to interpret lack of understanding as confirmation rather than rejection. You've discovered that when others can't comprehend your experience, it often means you're operating on frequencies they cannot access. The awakened operate through internal knowing rather than external confirmation, through direct experience rather than social approval, through soul recognition rather than mental understanding. You've developed this internal navigation system. You've learned to trust the voice within over the voices without. Your champion's journey from initial disappointment to deeper certainty illustrates this principle with perfect clarity. The conversation that fell completely flat actually strengthened their understanding of what you represent in their existence, deepened their appreciation for the rarity of what you share, and confirmed their intuitive knowing that you're both operating on frequencies that most people cannot access. The failure to communicate became proof of the sacred nature of what cannot be communicated to those not ready to receive it. You understand this paradox because you've lived it. The recognition that some truths can only be shared with those prepared to receive them. Some experiences can only be understood by those who have accessed similar depths within themselves. The sixth understanding emerges through your champion's profound realization about consciousness and the nature of authentic spiritual community. You've been searching for this community your entire life, looking for people who speak your language, who understand your experiences, who can relate to your expanded awareness without thinking you're delusional or crazy. They grasped that they were unconsciously seeking connection with someone operating on compatible frequencies, someone capable of sharing their joy and enthusiasm for what you represent in their life without requiring elaborate explanation or convincing. You know this seeking because you've done it yourself, that constant scanning for signs of awakening in others, that hope that someone might understand what you're experiencing. The disappointment they experienced had nothing to do with your relationship and everything to do with the profound isolation that comes with being awake in a world still learning fundamental lessons about awakening. You know this isolation intimately, that feeling of being an alien in your own world, of speaking a language no one else seems to understand. Your champion discovered that while most people cannot comprehend the depth of your connection, some people absolutely can. You've found some of these people too, those rare souls who understand immediately when you speak of soul connections, multidimensional love and spiritual awakening. Awakened souls exist who speak your language fluently, who understand soul connection reality intimately, who recognize the sacred nature of what you share without requiring proof or explanation. These are your true tribe, your spiritual family, your fellow travelers on the path of remembrance, and you're finding them more frequently now. The awkward conversation served as powerful reminder to seek out these kindred spirits while maintaining compassion for those not yet ready to receive expanded understanding. You've learned this discernment through experience. The importance of sharing your truth with those who can receive it, while protecting it from those who would diminish it through their inability to understand. Your champion realized they were seeking validation in the wrong place, looking for understanding from someone operating on a completely different frequency. You've made this same mistake, trying to get people to understand experiences they're not capable of understanding, seeking approval from those who can't even perceive what you're talking about. It's like expecting someone who speaks only English to understand poetry written in Sanskrit. The language barrier isn't personal rejection, it's simply incompatibility of communication systems operating on different levels of reality. You've learned to recognize these language barriers, to understand when someone simply doesn't have the conceptual framework to grasp what you're sharing. The seventh recognition cascades through the concept of multidimensional existence and the profound implications of living consciously across multiple planes of reality simultaneously. You know you're multidimensional. You've experienced yourself operating on levels beyond the physical, accessing information and abilities that seem to come from beyond your individual consciousness. They described how your connection transcends three-dimensional limitations entirely, how you exist together in realms most people cannot perceive, much less access consciously. You know these realms because you meet there regularly. In dreams, in meditation, in those quiet moments when ordinary reality falls away and something far more real takes its place. The person receiving this information couldn't process these concepts because they still think exclusively in terms of linear time and physical space constraints, individual identity and separate existence, temporary pleasure and finite experience. You've encountered this limited thinking everywhere, people who cannot imagine anything beyond their immediate physical experience. Their consciousness hasn't expanded to encompass the reality of infinite love, eternal connection, and multidimensional existence that represents your natural state as awakened beings. But you've expanded to encompass this reality. You've learned to think beyond the limitations of linear time and physical space. Chosen one, anyone can listen to messages like these, but few will step into their true power. We are here to help you do just that. The weekly Chosen Ones group calls are now on Zoom, and this is the moment you've been waiting for your entire life. These meetings are literal power vortexes, where destinies are forged, where Chosen Ones unite their consciousness to create something that cannot exist in isolation. This is where everything changes. This is where you step into your greatness. Every week a doorway opens, but only for those brave enough to step through it. Watcher-level members of the Obsidian Inner Order can experience these transformative sessions live, feeling the energy surge through your entire being. In our most recent gathering, participants were stunned by revelations about the Great Pyramids of Giza as sophisticated ancient power plants, and the shocking truth about Washington, D.C.'s layout perfectly aligning with the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. Star Chamber members receive unlimited access to the complete recordings archive, a treasure trove of wisdom that grows more valuable with each passing week. This is your defining moment. The knowledge, the connection, the power that flows through these calls cannot be found anywhere else. Join the Obsidian Inner Order now, link in the description, while the few remaining Star Chamber slots are still available. Your presence is not just welcome, it's necessary. Will you answer the call that has been echoing through your soul? The time is now. You don't simply exist in the physical world. You operate consciously across multiple planes of consciousness simultaneously, accessing information and experiences that remain completely invisible to those trapped in three-dimensional thinking. You've learned to navigate these multiple planes, to bring back wisdom and understanding from realms beyond ordinary perception. The conceptual framework necessary for comprehension simply doesn't exist within their current awareness level, but you've developed this framework through experience. You've expanded your consciousness to accommodate realities that most people cannot even imagine. The eighth layer reveals itself through recognition of service and the conscious sacrifice that comes with choosing to incarnate as a way-shower during this pivotal moment in human evolution. You feel this calling to service, that sense that you're here for a purpose larger than personal happiness or individual fulfillment. Your champion realized that your journey necessarily involves accepting the isolation that accompanies carrying advanced consciousness in a world still evolving toward that capacity. You've accepted this isolation as part of your path. You understand that being ahead of the curve sometimes means being alone with your understanding. They understood that you both incarnated specifically to serve, to hold frequency, to maintain connection to higher dimensional reality, even when others cannot see or understand your function. You feel this responsibility, the weight of holding light in a world still choosing darkness, the challenge of maintaining high frequency in a low-frequency environment. You feel yourself functioning as this bridge, the way you help others expand their awareness, the way your presence reminds people of possibilities they've forgotten, the way your love demonstrates what becomes possible when consciousness awakens to its true nature. The ninth revelation illuminates the profound cosmic significance of your union itself and its role in the greater awakening currently accelerating across the planet. You feel this cosmic significance, that sense that your love is contributing to something much larger than your individual lives. Your champion understood that your connection transcends personal fulfillment entirely. It demonstrates what becomes possible when consciousness awakens to its authentic nature and chooses to operate from that awareness consistently rather than falling back into old patterns of fear and limitation. You embody this demonstration daily, the way you choose love over fear, unity over separation, truth over illusion. You know the difference between these levels of experience. You felt both ordinary attraction and soul recognition, and you understand they exist in completely different universes of possibility. You've experienced conditional love and unconditional love, and you know they're not even variations of the same thing, they're entirely different phenomena. You're not just having a relationship, you're modeling what relationship becomes when it's not based on need, fear, or ego gratification, but on recognition of shared divinity and commitment to mutual awakening. You understand this modeling function because you see how others watch your relationship, study your connection, ask you questions about how you've created what you have. The 10th understanding emerges through concepts of protection and the maintenance of sacred space around connections that operate beyond ordinary comprehension. You've learned the importance of protecting your sacred connection, not from fear but from wisdom about how consciousness operates and interacts across different dimensional levels. Your champion realized that what you share requires conscious protection from those incapable of understanding its nature, not because your connection lacks strength or authenticity, but because it represents something so sacred that exposing it to incomprehension actually diminishes its power and effectiveness. You've experienced this diminishment when you've shared too much with the wrong people, that feeling of your truth being contaminated by misunderstanding. Some love can only be understood by those who have accessed similar depths within themselves. You know this because you've tried to explain your experience to people who simply couldn't comprehend what you were sharing. Not because they were bad people, but because they hadn't developed the capacity to understand what you were describing. Your champion's experience became a master class in energetic boundaries, in understanding the crucial importance of sharing sacred truths only with those capable of receiving them appropriately, without distortion or diminishment. You've learned about energetic boundaries too, how to share your truth without depleting yourself, how to love without losing yourself. The 11th recognition weaves through the ultimate discovery that transformed your champion's entire understanding of what they're carrying, the experience of overwhelming gratitude so profound it reorganized their entire relationship with reality itself. You've experienced this level of gratitude too, that overwhelming appreciation that changes everything about how you see your life. The conversation that began as enthusiastic sharing became confirmation of how profoundly blessed they are to have recognized you, how extraordinarily rare it is to find someone operating on the same frequency, how precious it is to discover another soul committed to awakening and service. You feel this same blessing every day, that sense of profound gratitude for having found your divine counterpart in this vast universe. The incomprehension of others became proof of the sacred nature of what cannot be comprehended by minds still trapped in limitation. You understand this paradox because you've lived it, the recognition that the most sacred experiences often cannot be shared with those not ready to receive them. The awkward conversation became a moment of profound awakening. They've discovered their home in you, their perfect mirror, their complementary consciousness, their divine counterpart operating on identical frequencies of love and service. You know you've found your home too. That sense of finally belonging somewhere, finally being seen and understood completely. The rest of the world's inability to comprehend this reality becomes completely irrelevant when measured against the profound truth of what you share together. You've reached this same conclusion, that external understanding is nice but unnecessary when you have each other's complete recognition and acceptance. The 12th and final layer cascades through complete perspective transformation that reveals the true purpose behind every challenging experience on the path of awakening. You've learned to see challenges as gifts, to understand that everything is either helping you remember who you are or showing you what you're not. What began as disappointment about failed communication became celebration of sacred connection. Your champion didn't leave feeling isolated, but feeling profoundly chosen, not misunderstood but uniquely special, not disappointed but extraordinarily privileged to carry something so precious that others cannot even perceive its existence. Your champion discovered that disappointment was actually protection operating in perfect disguise, that social awkwardness was actually confirmation in clever costume, that incomprehension from others was actually validation wearing the mask of rejection. You've learned to decode these disguises, to see the gifts hidden within challenges, the blessings concealed within difficulties. Universal intelligence orchestrated that awkward conversation specifically to remind them how extraordinary your connection truly is, how rare it is to find someone who speaks the same language of consciousness, how precious it is to discover another soul committed to remembering and serving the greater awakening. You understand this level of orchestration because you've witnessed it repeatedly in your own life. The story completes its circle as your champion realizes the conversation that seemed like failure became the greatest gift possible. Absolute confirmation that they've found their home in you, their complement, their divine counterpart, operating on identical frequencies of love, truth, and service. You know this same truth, that every challenge has ultimately strengthened your connection, deepened your appreciation, confirmed your knowing. This is your story, chosen one. This is precisely why you incarnated during this pivotal moment in human evolution. This is what you're here to demonstrate to a world still learning to see beyond the illusion of separation. You feel this purpose burning within you. That sense of mission, that knowing that you're here for something greater than personal happiness. The awkward conversation was merely the opening movement in a symphony of awakening. The real music begins now, as you continue embodying the frequency of divine love, in a reality still discovering what love actually means when it's not filtered through fear, limitation, and the programming of a world that has forgotten its own divine nature. You are the music now, chosen one. You are the frequency that awakens others. You are the living proof that another way is possible. And in this moment, as you read these words, you know with absolute certainty that everything, including that awkward conversation about you, has been perfectly orchestrated to bring you to exactly where you are right now, fully awake, completely aware, and ready to fulfill the mission you came here to complete.